This is Andrea, and then I'm doing an interview today with Douglas, and he is a TI, a longtime TI. Douglas, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm not doing that great today, to be honest.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Even right now, while I'm sitting here, they're attacking my lower bits and parts, so it feels a bit uncomfortable right now. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. So I'm recording the call. Just wanted to make sure that you understand we respect each other's privacy. And so, are you aware that we're recording this and I'm going to use it for my channel? Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still like to respect privacy, so we do have privacy, even though they don't. So yeah, just to get started, I'm going to go ahead and let you take over the call and really just tell us who you are and what you wanted to share with other TIs.
Okay. Hello, my name is Douglas Shipton. I'm a Canadian, and I live here in Thailand. And I moved here about 5 years ago. I came over here to do business, and while I was in Malaysia, where I previously lived, I started to get these. Well, not started. I already had been getting them since Canada, uh, and towards the United Kingdom when I stayed there for about 8 years. I also were getting these headaches as well. But in Malaysia, it became very, very strong, and the pain level was astronomically different. Um, in the middle of the night, I'd just be getting up and just holding my head and just trying to find some way to kind of stop the migraine that was there, and stuff like this. And anyways, but before I get completely into that, the thing is that we moved to Malaysia because my wife at that time was doing her PhD at the Nottingham University there in the Malaysian campus, and so we were very optimistic at that point in our lives with a lot of hope for our dreams in the future, which was starting setting up companies, business and stuff like that, and doing novel projects. And in the end, we just got completely destroyed. I mean, mentally, you could see our family starting to fail, and you could see why. It was like all of a sudden, normally I'd want to it was like someone would ask me a question. Gee, do you want to go and console your wife that everything will be okay? And you'd be like, yes. And then they'd be like, go and take you somewhere else, like take you to a different room kind of thing. And you don't really know what's going on. It's like you're in hypnosis at that point in time. You're not awake yet. You can't break the hypnosis. You're in that state. And then it wasn't until we finally got divorced and separated and all that that obviously these attacks destroyed my marriage. But the thing is that I mean, I couldn't even sleep in the same room. I had to sleep in a Faraday cage and stuff like that. And half the time I was just complaining about how much pain I was in. So it wasn't exactly, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, I went to Malaysia there, and then we came back to Thailand to do business because they had this very good offer in the government. Anyways, and but we just saw our dreams just die because all of a sudden you want to go do something, and like literally, like they can just sit you in front of a computer like for hours, and then just like snap you out of it kind of thing. And it's just my life became like this. I became
like you're wasting
completely
your time and not moving forward with your goals. Is that what they
yeah.
were saying? No?
I couldn't even remember what my goals were. I mean, from day to day, I'd be like, okay, well, tomorrow morning, that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up tomorrow, and I wouldn't have any clue like what I was doing. I'd go and make myself some breakfast and stuff, and I was like, I couldn't remember anything.
And
then all of a sudden, like
also,
a week later,
while you're on your computer, that they would show you messages. Is that part of it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, that got deleted from last one. Okay. One of the ways they communicate with me initially was through cyber communications. I'd be like on a website and they'd be like, "Are you a 36-year-old Caucasian male from Canada?" And like obviously the ads like directed right at you, and you're like, yeah, okay. So you click on it, and it just took you to the series of websites till you get to this pseudo-random data, what appears like pseudo-random data and stuff. And I would then read, whatever they wanted me to read. But yeah.
You thought it was the NSA that was talking?
Yeah, I thought it was the NSA at that point because I know that a lot of the stuff they're doing were hacking me and stuff like that, and some guys I bumped into kept talking about like NASA and NASA, anyway, and just stuff like this, and I'm like, maybe. I mean, like, I'm dealing with engineers and stuff at the university, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But the thing is that a lot of guys, a couple of guys mentioned the NSA, very blatantly in such a manner that you kind of got you're like, oh, okay. But anyways, in the end, the guys self-identified themselves as CIA operatives, and that deal specifically with what would be considered clandestine activities. And then the other guys, there's two other guys who do hacking. And when they started opening up these channels, cybernetic channels, which some TIs call V2K, you can understand that all of a sudden, like we're talking on different channels here and stuff like that. If anybody's familiar with technology, it's really simple to understand. I mean, like when you're looking at a computer and stuff like that, it gives off radiation. If you can read that radiation, you can read what the computer's doing. And so if you understand how that works, which they do have these remote machines that will do that, by the way. So that's why they want a Faraday cage out their places and stuff like that, in these military compounds and stuff, because not only for EMP attacks, of course, but to stop other countries from being able to read the equipment inside. At least that's the concept. But yeah. Anyway, so
this is the technology they were trying to recruit you to work with them.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, okay. They're offering me to work as a special operative here in Southeast Asia at that point, and at least that's the context in which they were presenting to me. And they said that they
were going to pay you to do it, and you met somebody in person. You had said earlier, is that right?
Yeah, I have met officers in person before, but the thing is that this is not related to the more recent attacks, which are way worse, and to the cybernetic communications that we're talking about. Although I now been woken up to being informed about these attacks and stuff like that. Like right now, they are attacking me as we speak. I know you can't see it, but they are like touching people's penises and stuff. And then they are overlaying that information to my brain, and it feels very disturbingly uncomfortable. All of a sudden, like something's touching you and stuff like this. And what they do is they told me that like they're molesting. They say to me, they said to me that it's because they're molesting people and stuff like this, like underage people, and you're like that's great. So why are you officers for a government organization attacking me exactly? Since like I know no one else can hear the conversation, but that's the conversation that's taking place. So my question to them is like, why are you attacking me? And the thing is, it's weird because it's like you're constantly on a cell phone, isn't it? Like you can hear the conversation, right? But everybody else around you can't, except there's no cell phone and stuff. And yet it's exactly the same thing. You can hear them talking into you, but no one else is able to hear it. So um, it's just that because it's novel, it's new. Some people are, some agencies have been trying to deny the technologies exist and stuff because they're classified, and this is blockading anything getting done because we got classifications on classifications on classifications. Just by the time you get to it, only the guys at the very top are going to be able to do anything because the classification level gets so high that everything's pretty much buried. It's like MK Ultra. I mean, back in the day, if you try to open it back up in like 1960s, you're like, it doesn't even exist, mate.
Do you think that people who are abusing you with this technology are having it illegally, and the people who are at the top won't do anything because by default they'd have to admit it existed?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's we're saying that it's the projects that don't even exist. If they do exist, prove it. And we're at that stage right now, and when we're at that stage, it's pretty much impossible to get anything done.
They would rather you suffer than disturb their project. Just let you suffer.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. To attend one of their projects is a big deal for them. And I mean, historically, we can look through the paperwork and we can see that, even when it came to mutilating people, murdering people, like assassinating people, stuff like it's all being documented, and some of it's been released to the public. I mean, MK Ultra, they talked about raping married women.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about using hypnosis to get these married women to come to them for therapy, and then they hypnotize them to have sex with them. So the woman was no longer consciously capable of saying no, and the CIA agents are writing up about how they're raping all these women that were coming to them as clients and stuff, and you're like, did the CIA not realize that they just wrote about how they go and rape?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to them, this was like normally they take out the whiteout and they take out certain lines, to keep the secrecy. And I was like, to them, raping women was just such a small act compared to what else was inside that document.
Oh yeah.
They
just like a lot worse things than that too. And that's open. This is public knowledge now. If you want to go find it, what those horrible things they're doing with MK Ultra. But now what we've got is another big secret, and it's not only is it what we call V2K, or you had another term for V2K. What were you calling that? The voice to skull.
Well, I call it direct EEG communications. You can call it direct EMF EEG communications or something like that if you want. But at the end of the day, it's the direct. It bypasses most radar systems. I mean, you can see why the military is very interested in building something like this, because you can literally have a guy enemy territory and get a message straight into his head about the whole location around him and everything that's happening. And what
this
a
is
powerful,
no secret either. This technology, we know they've posted articles the military has that they have it. They have this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so it's no secret that they have the ability to do it, and they're admitting it, but they're still denying that it's happening to people, that it's in the wrong hands, or that it's even them that is using it to abuse people, human beings.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it.
There's also another part. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, all I was going to add is that most TIs are just unfamiliar with this technology. They have no clue. You mention nanobots, they'll be like, it's nanobots. You mention whatever. I mean, they don't get it, so they don't realize that it's just very simple technology that's been produced since the 1940s. I mean, microwave hearing effect is what we're talking about right now, where you can directly put microwaves towards someone's head, and your brain will actually receive it as sound waves, and of course you can just relay that as voice messages and what have you, which they've done. So, and now it's been termed voice of God.
Mm-hmm.
where they now use it in conflict zones, detainment centers, and torture people by pretending to be God, and invoking the fear of God.
And it doesn't stop there. They also have these what I call direct energy weapons, or that's a term that's used, but it could encompass a whole array of different pieces of energy they use to torture people with. And then, what do you think they use on you? Do you know what type of technology they use to torture you
Yeah,
physically?
they're using direct energy weapons. I mean, even right now, they're blasting my backside with direct energy weapons, which is why you might see me moving around a bit. I feel like standing up half the time. And then the other one is this direct EMF, EEG communication technology, where they actually talk to you and manipulate your body. Like literally, they've actually just taken my hand and slapped it into my face, and and you're unable to do anything. You're just stuck until they allow you to move or whatever. Like it's the most horrible sensation of like just being in like a coma and watching someone else control your body like you're a robot or something. Like
You have
it's
no control at all when they do that, or do you have any?
none, none. And the thing is that I know that they have mentioned that the whole point of MK Ultra in the initial projects was to create a Manchurian candidate where they could get anyone of the public to go and become an assassin for the government and go kill people. And they said that this has to do with mind control from Japanese camps and stuff like that, where they would take GIs and just completely brief the guy and things like this. They said that's where they got the interest from, but I don't think so. It's but whatever. Anyways, the CIA stuff and links with mind control, research is very in depth.
Do you think it's all experimental, or do they have an end goal with what they want to do with these people, or they're just seeing what they can do?
The people that I'm in communication with now, like every day, like I mentioned, they mentioned that in the future they want to have the population called down to only millions. They said that they have already implemented this technology worldwide to actually everybody on the planet. And they said that they're now just testing the security system. I mean, the more we complain and the more stink we make and stuff like that, or try to, is better for them because then they can see how to try to manage and contain the situation and just stuff like that. So I think that's why we're allowed to do what we do, because to them they just think as containment practice, and there you go.
Why do you think they pick you specifically, or any targeted individual?
Differences are varied. I mean, some of us might be real targets, and then other ones just experiment targets. They might put in the politically ones that they want to remove, and at the same time, just general public. And then that way, it's just so varied. It's pretty much impossible to tell who's who. Unless you know those particular people's abilities, traits, and influence and stuff. But anyways.
So you're in a lot of pain a lot of time. What are some things you do to try to remedy that pain or symptoms of it? Is there anything that you've tried, or anything you keep around to block or to make you feel better in general?
Yeah, I usually sit on weights. Normally, I sit on these metal weights here, and they're pretty thick at some places, so they're maybe about about 20 mil, something like that. Anyways, and I put these under my sitting position here, and then that way, at least the radiation, at least in theory, should have something to kind of be grounded towards. So reducing the amount my body has to take. I don't know if that's actually going to work or not, but that's, you know, um, I do have to sit on it really, like it's very uncomfortable sometimes, but I don't know. They just blast me with radiation so much and just torture me for absolutely no reason. I'm just brushing my teeth and they start torturing me. I just standing there trying to teach my classes. I'm a teacher, online teacher, and I'm just trying to teach my classes, and they'll just like start messing around with me. Sometimes just try to make me fall asleep while I'm teaching. And I tell you, I don't know if you've ever tried staying awake at night, but it feels really horrible. And then all of a sudden you're like teaching a class, and it's like, "Hi guys, are you ready?" And then after a while, you're like, just like barely starting to like stay awake as they like do this sleep ray thing to you, and they do it a lot. I mean, they actually took me off the highway. I was in my car. I was driving. I just woke up at a gas station. I had about an hour nap. I was like nice, refreshed, good to go. I'm on the highway, and then next thing you know, that's it. That's all I had. I was in the ditch. Even when I hit the ditch, I did not wake up. There was no like fuzz in my vision at all. It was complete pitch black. And anyways, and then they started having me go through signs, and it was just like one sign after another after another. I'd gone off the highway at highway speeds in my car, and they had just knocked me out like out my wheel. Anyways, and yeah, so my car got like demolished and stuff like that. And then just a couple weeks ago, 5 minute drive from my house. I get in my truck. I go to drive to 7-Eleven about 10 minutes away. 5 minute drive from here. I'm out. Boom! Straight into a lamp post. This is the first time in my life I've had so many accidents. I've never like considered usually quite a very good driver by most people's standards. I drive like an old lady, as they say. You know, I drive nice and slow and I do lots of checking. But at the end of the day, like all of a sudden I have these accidents where I'm just like acutely going unconscious all the time. Like, I mean, a 5 minute drive from your house. I mean, that's not even enough to fall asleep, man.
What did anything happen around that period that you think that they would want to try to kill you?
They seem to be having this game my whole life to see if they do something and if I'll actually react the right way or I'll die. In the case where I actually went off the road, I wasn't even controlling my body. It was them. And there's two of them. One saying like, step on the accelerator. And the other one's like, I'm trying. And then he's like trying to like steer my car too. And they're like, crank it. And they're yelling at each other like that, by the way, okay? And I can hear them, but I'm like this. And then the other guy, he's actually doing the driving and stuff. Like I can see my body moving, but I can't do nothing. I'm just smashing through these things. Finally, we hit another cement thing inside the gutter, and that popped my car out. But again, like my car just got completely trashed. Like I mean, it was.
Yeah,
it was not.
I did see the pictures that you had posted of your car just totaled.
Yeah,
it's good lucky to be alive after experiencing a car accident like that.
Well, you know, the thing is what's scary is that any one of us around the world can just fall asleep and be made. Like I said, literally 5 minute drive, I was wide awake. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, boom, I'm hitting a lamppost. Literally, like that was it. Like I had a nice black eye for, you know, a bit of a shiny there as well.
And then another thing I wanted you to talk about was you had said you have the capability to create something else that could help possibly block this or protect people from this technology. And you wanted to share that. Can you talk some more about that?
Yeah, I realized that they're using directed energy weapons. I'll just explain this first. Because what happened was that I'd get this migraine headache, and I went like this, and the pain stopped. And so I put my hand up, and the pain stopped, started, and I realized putting my hand up should not stop my headache. Putting my arm on my head shouldn't stop my headache. What's going on here? So I started two hands, where eventually I got the angle so I could actually see where it was coming in from to hit at my head. And I actually was able to go like that. And I could actually find the different variation. And I realized that something's attacking my head. So I went and built a Faraday Shield. Have you heard of one before?
Yes. Faraday cage is what I've heard them called.
Well, yeah, in this case, it's just a shield. A cage is when it's completely blocked out. In my case, it means that it's directional. I know the attacks were happening from above, so I just put the sheets, all the density of sheets on the top to block out the incoming radiation there. But in the end, it just didn't work. And I then would put a pot or a pan on my head so that, like, inside the Faraday Shield, I even had more protection and stuff. And I thought, man, they're never going to go through this stuff. I mean, some of these pots, like you got one of those old pans and stuff. I mean, some of the irons like that thick on those, cast iron pots. So I thought that was pretty good. I was like, man, this is it. Okay, I'll sleep in here. Everything will be okay. And then wasn't okay. Didn't get better.
Yeah, you said you had gone to caves. You've gone up to high altitudes, and it's still able to penetrate.
That's right, exactly. So I started to try to figure out how much they could go through. I started upping. I had about that much metal on top of my actual Faraday Shield to stop the incoming radiation, and it was still hitting me. I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is like their power output must be just nuts. And so what I did was I was like, okay, well, I know absorption, so much, substrate's going to take out so much energy. How much energy are we looking at here? So I started looking up direct energy weapons and their technology and stuff more. They normally say about 30 kilowatts and stuff like that for a single maser, like attack and stuff like that. But in the end, you realize how much energy you're actually dealing with, and because they got multiple arrays. Like, let's say you got 10 of these arrays, these masers on your weapon platform, and you have them all aim at the same target on Earth. I mean, you're talking 300 kilowatts of energy, not 30 anymore. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So all this, and then they have multiple satellites, and then they can all take that energy and all aim on the same spot as well, which pretty much takes out whatever it is that it's looking at, right? So at this point, I was like, well, okay, we need to build something that's going to absorb very high volumes of energy, and so I estimated high at about 10 megawatts. With combined maser arrays and different satellite banks and all that stuff. So, anyways, and if we wanted to actually completely protect ourselves, we go down about 1 kilometer under the ground, 1,000 meters. And that would then give us enough substrate to soak out a very large proportion of the radiation that can be directed at us. But the problem is that going down that deep is very dangerous. So I looked into, the different dangers associated with going down that deep and stuff like that, and how feasible it would be. And it just doesn't seem very feasible, even the Russians and stuff like that. Although there are caves around the world, which is why I went into a cave to see, will it work? How much substrate will be needed? And they said that that they did have to increase their power levels while I was in the cave. But whether the people are just humoring me or not, I don't know. But that is what they said. You tell me. Well, obviously that might be true, but by how much? Like a few watts, or are we talking kilowatts here? I went into a cave that was about 100 meters thick with limestone. So that means cement equivalent. So that's 100 over 300 feet of cement essentially, and they could still hit me, target, like to very high accuracy and degree. It was amazing. What happened was is that I realized that if we're going to make anything real, if you can go into 100 meters of cement and not be safe, um, what is the point of pretending that STIs are going to be safe by um, bunkers or anything like that? I mean, or tin foil around our walls. And I mean, this technology has been made to take out people inside a main battle tank. 20 inches of steel equivalent. And we've got guys thinking that a little tinfoil is going to stop the attack, and it's like, yeah, it will if they want it. If they want to let your tinfoil work, but if they don't want it to work, it's gone, man. I mean, you just made a funny little hat.
Right.
Yeah.
What's tinfoil going to do? But this, what you're talking about building some technology, would be expensive versus something you think is practical for, you or any other TI to assist with building.
Well, if you got a neighbor who's attacking you, you can build a Faraday Shield for relatively very cheap. I mean, a lightning rod, some copper wire, and of course some metal sheeting. Usually used to repair old doors or something like that, or you can use the metal tin, for the roofs and stuff like that too if you want. But either way, just something to go over you to protect you with a metal shielding. Now that's going to stop vast majority of direct energy weapon attacks, unless they're actually aiming at you. So what that means is that if it's just like the broad spectrum radiation, like Wi-Fi does or Bluetooth, they suck up that energy really well. Your Faraday Shield is going to be very good for that. But if you're actually talking about someone taking a concentrated large volume of energy, putting it into a laser beam, and then blasting it at your head or whatever and stuff like that, which is what they're doing, your Faraday Shield might not as well be there. It's just useless. It's like putting a piece of paper on you, to protect yourself from stopping a bullet. It's
So, but you said also earlier that you might be working on something already, and you were wanting to see other people who might be interested to contact you. Can you tell us what that is, and then where they should be able to reach you if they did want to help you, or if they think they can assist you with this project?
Yeah, thanks. So I've been trying to get together a project to get an old mine shaft, which might be able to be self-funding if we do it right, where we clean up the site at the same time, which will then get government grants and stuff like that and allow us to purchase the area and stuff like that. And the understanding is just to get underground, preferably under 400 meters of substrate and minimum, and hopefully that will be enough to at least stop most of our attacks and stuff like that for those of us who actually want to protect ourselves. Because right now we're just being blasted. I'm being tortured every day, and I'm like, I don't understand why I'm being tortured. And surely I can talk to your commanding officers at least, and they're like, one says, I'm the commanding officer. And I'm like, okay, why are you attacking me? He's like, I don't need to answer it.
Well, what are you supposed to do about it then if you don't even know what's happening to you?
Well, they say they're clandestine operations, so they say that, they're under completely different jurisdiction orders than a regular headquarters and stuff like that. So they say they actually have been involved in attacks against people from their own government and stuff like that, and the ones in particular said that their division is the ones responsible for the September 11th attacks, 9/11 in America. And I said, oh yeah. And he says, like, it was obviously an inside job. But why do you think everybody, even though there's 3 towers hit by 2 airplanes, and 1 tower didn't even get hit by an airplane, and it goes down, it lit itself on fire, and then it collapsed in a classic demolition style. And all 3 of them did that. Does that make sense? And I'm like, no, but and then he's like, yeah, well, our guys did that. We got the call, and that's the kind of stuff we do. This is what we specialize in. And it's like interesting. And you see, the thing is that if you look afterwards at the aftermath and stuff, they were talking about using this technology to keep the population calm. It's mind control technology. And they said that it was active at that time, but it wasn't fully implemented yet worldwide. But yeah, but they've been putting this together for a long time. Everybody in the whole world, they said, is supposed to be tagged. They have to mind map us because apparently all our brains work slightly differently. So we store things in different areas and stuff like that. So they said they have to map every individual. And to do that, they have to ask us like questions and stuff. And then these silly little questions like try to count to 5, and then you try to count to 5, but you can't because you can't say the word 5. Mm. And so what happens is like you keep trying to count to 5, but you can't. It's just hypnosis tricks. And the thing is that like when you but it's a memory relocation in your brain that they've just done. You see what I mean? They just relocated the part of your brain where you're actually whatever, and they're playing around with the radiation, and then by doing so, we get different effects. So I mean, I've been thinking about their technology a lot because it's very interesting. It's fascinating, and it's like someone had this amazing gift. A gift that could save the world. I mean, if we had psychological people, like mental issues like rapists, pedophiles, and murderers, and we had this technology, we could have used this to cure all these people who have these mental diseases while they sleep. They would wake up. We'd wake up to a better world where these guys no longer want to hurt people. They want to, we could use this to made a heaven on earth by now. And instead, these guys got a hold of it and decided just to torture thousands of people.
They're more interested in causing pain or mind control than they are with pleasure and peace. Sounds strange. Yeah. Well, Douglas, we'll go ahead and wrap up because we've been on a long call. But I just want to finish up by asking, how can people get a hold of you if they do want to talk to you about anything you've said?
I'm on Facebook. You can look me up, Douglas Shipton on Facebook. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 of us in the whole world, so I'm pretty easy to spot.
Yeah, I'll put your Facebook. Well, thank you again for your time. What time is it there in Thailand right now?
4:52 in the morning.
4:52 a.m. Well, thank you for being up so early to speak with me over here in Washington.
Yeah.
You have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you. Bye.